Hi everyone, welcome. I'm Esther, and today I'm talking to you about Samadhi. And Samadhi is the 8th stage of the 8 limbs of yoga, and the meaning is liberation or freedom. Yoga is a spiritual practice, so this is where it's all leading to. And what it means is that it's a state of consciousness where the individual awareness dissolves into the great whole. Now, that sounds beautiful, but what does that really mean? I mean, they're just words. So I'm going to try and give more meaning to this. So first of all, if you're thinking about individual awareness dissolving into the great whole, then maybe you can see how we might feel that we're separate. And when we feel we are a separate individual, and I think I can feel that, I think you feel that too, you know, that means you're probably inherent to that is that you're missing something. And when you miss something, you're looking for something. And I think we're all seekers. And we can seek for common things like happiness. It could go into the direction of I want a house, or I want a child, or I need a new car, I need to feel happy in my job. It can go anywhere. It can also be more spiritual, like I looking for Samadhi. I want spiritual enlightenment. It doesn't matter what you are desiring. It doesn't matter what you are seeking. The movement underneath it for all of the seeking is the same. It means you seek from a sense of lack. And that's important. So you're not whole right now. The question that leads to is almost who is seeking? Like you identify with the seeking. And if you do that unquestioned, that leads to suffering. So asking yourself, who is the seeker, is a good start. Like, am I the seeker? Am I that what constantly seeks for something that's not here? And that inevitably leads to the question that all yoga hopefully leads to, all spiritual practice leads to eventually, and that's the question, who am I? And that's the big question. And the final question almost on the spiritual path. So let's try and answer that together. So if I would ask you, who are you? If someone asks me, who am I? You might most likely get a story about what I've done in the past, what I would like to do in the future, that I'm the wife of, daughter of, perhaps mother of, you know, all these kind of answers. You get a story. And within the story, I think this is something we just have to assume and believe that within the story there's always incompleteness. There's always something that you would like that's not there, that you would like to change. So you're never going to find Samadhi, if you like, within the story, because there's always a sense of incompleteness. So from there on, we're moving to the message of Samadhi, and that is that completeness and wholeness is not to be found in the future. It's not to be found, obviously, in the past. It is to be found in this present moment. So it's also not to be found in the story and within the story, because the story is always about a future or a past. So you could almost say future and past don't exist. You can also say future and past only exist in that moment. There's thoughts about a future, there's memories about a past. But there's no such thing as future or past. There is only this moment. And the only place you can find that wholeness and that individual awareness sort of dissolving into it is in this moment. It's almost beyond the mind. Again, not within the story. This is probably the best way of explaining it. So you have to look for it here and now in the present moment. And you could call the word presence. You could also translate that into awareness or consciousness. That's what we're looking for. A nice analogy could be one that you might have heard of before. One that I like a lot is of the ocean and the waves. So if you have an ocean, you've got waves. And if you pretend you're a wave for a moment, and the wave sort of wonders, is looking for the ocean, it's looking to go home, it's looking for that big wholeness and to sort of dissolve into it because it feels incomplete and it needs to kind of exist on its own. It might be wondering where is it and what will it give to me. And if you look at it, then the wave is already part of the ocean. So it's not separate. There's still a wave, but there's also an ocean and it's all one. So the only problem lies in the wave believing it's separate from the ocean. But if you look at it, it's already the ocean. And it's the same with us. We are already part of the whole. We are the whole. We are an expression of the whole. Just like that wave is an expression of the ocean. That's the same with us. So this body is an expression of life. And it expresses itself as Esther. It might even express itself sometimes as Esther being a separate individual, but really, I'm not. That's a story. And within the story, I'm not going to find it, so I'm going to look deeper to who I am, and then I might get an experience of the whole and of merging with it, and seeing that this is just a story, it's just a temporary expression of it. I hope that makes sense. I hope I've made you at least sort of wonder about this and about the question, who am I? You might take this further yourself. Yeah. I think for daily life, it's about rediscovering presence here and now. So drop into the moment, come out of your stories about past and future and see that everything is here now. I hope that made sense. I enjoyed talking to you about it anyway. If there's questions, ask them, and I'll see if I can answer them for you. Thank you so much for listening. Namaste.